Back here at my friend's Freedom 39 sailboat. So this time I'm gonna have to pull out this whole floorboard here, and the reason for that is the fuel tank started leaking, which is actually the second fuel tank, and it's buried under here. The first tank was under there, under this floorboard. Previously we had to take this out because it was leaking too. And what really happens here is those tanks are built out of aluminum, and because several times salt water has gotten into this thing, because boats gotten, like I previously mentioned, beached, and to the point that salt water was standing in there. And shame on the boat builders, they have to use cheap ass aluminum tanks instead of stainless steel. So you put salt water on aluminum, especially when it's exposed, not treated. That salt water gonna eat through it like acid. It's probably better to have just steel tanks in there before you use aluminum, but that's what they do. Well, the problem on the Freedom 39s is that those tanks are really not removable. They were put in place, and then the whole frame of the floor and all that stuff was built on top of it. So yeah, we're gonna have to cut this floor out, without damaging it, of course. Just work myself into finding where all the screws are. Some of the boards I can lift up, but not all of them. That's that. I also thought first I'm gonna have to lift the motor back out to get more room. So I built this contraption here. Brought a long jack stand from home, I-beam, a trolley, and there I just used an old wooden pallet where the engine was on there to support that I-beam. Chain fall, engine equalizer. So the idea was to get this engine from here to there and set it out of the way, but turns out it's still not high enough. So I decided I'm just gonna leave that engine in there. But I had to lift it up a little bit anyway, so building all this and carrying those heavy steel components around wasn't totally in vain, because the new motor mounts came in, and so I lifted the motor up and installed the new motor mounts, which are here, and of course there, and the other side kind of hidden. It won't show it all that good. And the motor is not completely mounted yet, but the propeller flange is pretty much gonna be where it's gonna be. The height is okay already. Of course I have more adjustment possibilities in the motor mounts, but that's a different ball game. For now I have to pull the tank out first, you know. So yeah, I found those new aftermarket motor mounts on eBay. Well, as a matter of fact, there's also a website, and the problem with Yanmar motor mounts was always they were made out of just regular painted steel plates, and they would come apart after a while. And so those ones here, they're made out of stainless steel, and they're different color coded, and apparently I don't know, of course it doesn't show it here. They're using a different type of rubber, some kind of a, I don't know, polyurethane or polyester. I don't know, I really don't know, but it's supposed to be much better. They seem to be pretty good. They're pricey, but Yanmar motor mounts were always pricey. So but yeah, just the fact that they're made now out of stainless steel, that alone should make them last much longer. For this motor, I had to use the front ones are number 150s and the rear ones are number 100s. So this is a heavy motor. I believe the motor itself with probably with transmission is around 600 pounds. So okay, so I guess now this morning I have to take all this stuff back down and muscle it back out of the boat. This is going to be a pain in the ass. Better clear all this shit out of the way. So yeah, I'm gonna get started now. Got the floorboard removed. That was a pain in the ass, of course. So here's the tank. Of course, this thing goes further back under the staircase, and it's partially molded into the fiberglass. So from here on, what I have to do is have to cut those cross members out, of course, and I'm gonna have to cut the tank in pieces in order to get it out. It's no good anyway, so. But yeah, this is a real pain in the ass because this tank really goes all the way under back there. When they build those things, they'll never intend to ever have it to take it back out, which is a bunch of baloney. If they would have used stainless steel, it probably would have lasted forever. But yeah, that's too much to ask for. If you already spend a fucking fortune on those damn boats, why asking for a stainless steel tank, huh? Unbelievable. So yeah, these are those fancy floorboards like those ones here and like they're here. I was able to save and to find where the screws were hidden. So I got all those pieces here. They can be sanded down, re-varnished, and be put back in place. So that's not a big deal. But people, if you ever have to do a tank like this, it's a royal pain in the ass. Well, on the bright side, it gives me a little bit better access to line up the engine, because my friend is planning on, once I have this tank completely removed, there's apparently somebody in the area who custom builds tanks, and we're gonna have this person come out and just do some measurements and have a custom built stainless steel tank in there. Not as big as this damn thing is. Heck, that looks like an 80-gallon tank or some shit, you know. Could probably cross the Atlantic just running on the motor with this fucking type of tank. And yeah, and this is the second tank. I mean, the first tank was under there. We already had, like I said, removed previously for the same problems. It was leaking too. And the way those tanks leak, it's not that they're pouring out the fuel, it's like this everlasting seepage. You look in your bilge and you wonder, why is there always some oil film on the bilge, you know. It stinks the boat up, you know. It's just really nasty. And besides that, it's illegal, you know. I mean, don't get caught having a fucking fuel in your bilge. Because the bilge pump would eventually kick on and pump that shit overboard, which is definitely not good. So lucky for us, we caught this in time, and the tank was already empty because of we were planning on sucking all the fuel out anyways, because we didn't know if there's any water contamination in there. So nothing really happened besides the fact that we saw the traces of seepage, and it was totally clear. So alright, so I got to get back, get me a saw and cut the cross members out, and then start cutting on the tank. That's gonna be fuck. Okay, has to get done. Yeah, so getting this tank out is really extremely difficult. I have to start cutting it in pieces. I already started. Got the
top plate off. It's tough to cut this aluminum because it dulls up the saw blades really quick. So yeah, and then it goes further back there, but I'm gonna try to pull half of it out first and see how it goes. And yeah, it's real nasty. And so yeah, I wish that type of work on nobody, not even my worst enemy. It's just absolutely horrible. Okay, I got about half the tank out now. Yeah, it's some seriously disgusting shit under there. Gonna try to pull the second half, which is still under the floorboard. I'm trying to pull it out with a come along. Hopefully that works. If not, I have to think of something else. But yeah, this is disgusting. Years of slow leakage and shit just getting trapped under there. And that was also constantly having diesel fuel in the bilge, because you know there was probably slow seepage for years. You can never see it because it's not big enough that it comes pouring out of there. It's just every so often you look in the bilge and you see some residue of diesel, and boy, and this stinks unbelievable. So I'm gonna put the come along on there and see if I can pull it out. Hopefully that works. So this morning I'm going to clean all this shit out here. Unbelievable. That dirt is just years in the making here. And then I'm gonna have to pull the second part of the tank out, which is still wedged under there. I tried it yesterday and couldn't get it done, but I didn't want to really step into this shit here. Okay, so that's what has to be done first. Now I'm ready to pull this tank, or the second part. I've got the come along secured here by just wedging an engine hoist between the doorway and the chain around the baffle plate of the other half of the tank. So let's see if this works. Let's see if I can hold the camera still enough. Oh yeah, it's moving out definitely. That seems to be working fine. Of course, has to hang up there. Oh, let's see. Yep, that's what I was hoping for. And I can just pull it out and it seems to be working. There we go. So yeah, that's it. That's the second part of this tank. Okay, I got lucky there. So I got finally everything out. Complete tank is removed. I got it fairly clean now. Just put those rags up there so I can walk on it without tracking more oil and dirt to the boat. So yeah, this was where the second part of the tank was under. So my friend is going to have somebody come over and measure now this compartment, and probably has a tank custom fabricated out of stainless, of course, which it's not going to be as big anymore. It's just going to basically just fill out this compartment there. That's my rough estimation. I would say it'll probably be between 35 to 40 gallon roughly, which is going to be enough because this little 3-cylinder Yanmar motor, well, it's actually not little, but large in size but little in horsepower, only produces about 29 horsepower, and they're known for being very fuel efficient, so it doesn't need a big tank. In the end, it's a stinking sailboat anyway, so who needs a motor? Anyhow, so yeah, this is how far I got now, and the next step is going to be finishing lining up the motor, putting it in the correct position. I got it roughly lined up. Haven't drilled any of those lag bolts for the motor mounts because I still may have to shift that engine around a little bit, and once it's bolted down and lined up, then gonna have to connect all the rest: wet exhaust, raw oil supply, electric, and so on. I had this engine running before, test run on basically on the bed of my truck, ran perfect. It's basically a refurbished, rebuilt motor. Well, at least that's what the person told us where we bought this motor from. It did sound good, started right up, and yeah, hopefully it's gonna be the last motor this boat is ever gonna see. Looking forward to have it running again, and then well, need lots of more interior work, but that's a whole different story and video clip. That's about as clean as it gets for now. No oil residue anymore. Got it all pressure washed with the greaser, and so it's gonna be, this area is gonna be ready now for the new tank, and got all this area cleaned up, engine bay cleaned up. So I hate working in total dirt. And bilge is all dry, cleaned up. So yeah, that was all nasty. Okay, so let's see how it goes on this Freedom 39. Thank you all for watching.